I'll tell you, I have an interesting relationship with hand movements. At this point, the hand movements can find, in a much more efficient and expedited way, what my embouchure needs to be doing if things seem off kilter. And I've been trying to figure it out for a while. Um, Whether I'm playing my opal high F or just that notes don't seem to be hit right in the resonant core part of the note. No matter what condition the lip is in, there's going to be shape involved, right? There's going to be shape, and that shape in the embouchure can change. With the different temperature, we've had a lot of fluctuating temperatures. I didn't actually play much today at all. And I've been playing a lot and then kind of let up a little bit. And sometimes, for me, that can get a little squishy. You know, there's a point where it really feels flexible and firm, that combination that feels, okay, it's in there, but it can move. Now it feels a little like the tire is low in terms of the embouchure cohesiveness. So, what training would I need in my athletic component? Because I've been honing the craft for a while. But you know, when I say craft, I mean a vehicle. Because that's really what I think it means. And I love that the word craft has art in it. So, to activate creativity, another TAC acronym, you have to go on a journey. Right? And if you haven't been accustomed to building a relationship with the process of journey, that can be difficult. Especially if your journey is just based on quality of product in almost a business type way. Well, this gig's coming up. I'm hired to do this. I need to lay it down. I understand. Totally understand. I'm not in that situation quite as much right now. So that offers a bit of a freedom. But I suggest that people get a little bit of that freedom going on now, whether they think, you know, the job's coming up and I just need to focus on that. Make some room. Make some room. And as I realized that a lot of my practice sessions, even when I was in the height of my career, I was making room for certain discovery. I had to. And so this, with my hand situation, that has been developing over a few years now. I mean, I would always do certain things and conduct myself, but in terms of having a situation where the hand is actually acting as a sculpture that's looking at a face going, what does it need here? What does it need? And I feel that in a way, when I play a note, I can feel with my hand what it needs to have a better shape. Now, one of the shapes I'm really interested in is the fact of the hand is 3D. It's different than drawing than a pencil drawing, which is very 2D. It's very flat. And so when I go like this, instead of just going, okay, I'm going to turn something, I go like this, side view. You can see something comes in. It used to remind me of an old camera shutter where there's a little circle and it looks like it's kind of doing this action. I actually got that once when I was looking at Alain Trudel. I thought, there's something about his embouchure. I'm sure wasn't thinking this, and I never even told him about it. That there's something about it that reminded me of this. Fascinating. So then, just recently, I started to kind of like keep doing this. And I found all sorts of ways to make my slurs smoother. Because this now, with the relationship of me doing this for a while, has a direct connection to my embouchure. So as soon as I start doing this, I can feel my embouchure start to form according to the directions my hands are moving in. Now notice I wasn't getting like a nice kind of clean immediate start on that C. My lips are feeling a little squishier tonight, and that's cool. Then that offers an opportunity to experiment, doesn't it? Right? So, with that in mind, I said, hey, wait a minute, what's the hand say? Because every action you do does have a corresponding point in the brain that it connects to. So with this, maybe there's a part of it that's activating more of a practical side, right? My right hand on the left side, but my wife's a neuroscientist, right? And so she knows, well, it's not quite that simple. You know, there's other parts of the brain it connects to too, and that'd be cool to have her on one time explaining some of maybe what's going on with me that I don't have to know about. All I know is it's happening. Okay? Empirically, my personal empirical experience now in evidence collecting is saying this is working. Because isn't that what we do in practice sessions? What works, what doesn't work? That's the scientist in us. And you need that. Even if you just want to think, well, I need to rearrange things, like someone looking at a room and wanting to tidy it up. You know what I mean? So in that way, maybe a person who's approaching it similar time, they're not thinking, well, now I'm going to activate the scientist in me. I wasn't either. I'm just thinking a little more that way. Because I think actual science is nature's laws. And they come from the source that is the original source where things come from. So it's incredible technology when we work with the natural laws because they come from the great engineer. Not human-made. But the human can borrow and use these laws. Now we can see where that can go down a very nefarious direction, can't we? With certain types of energy. It's not the energy's fault. We can't blame an object or the energy involved for nefarious activities. It's the human driver. So, with that in mind, we can take these natural laws and use them in a way that benefits not only ourselves but others. And even if, in this simple way, maybe certain things I'm mentioning might be useful to someone, even though they seem so unconventional, just because they're not regularly talked about or known about, at least in the field of brass that I've seen. So each person can discover their own incredible stuff. That's the point, is to get the knack of it. Okay? This might not work for everyone. Now, there's a couple people that are telling me that it is. Okay. Depends what kind of a relationship you build. Relationship is another way of saying connection. But there's something very personal about the relationship. It is a connection to something. You relate to it. And so whatever this is, whatever the theater in myself of communication, it is with letting this part of myself discover something, is helping me. So getting back to that C, wasn't hitting it right in the center. And I was kind of doing some things, and that didn't work. And then I went like that. And then I went like that. And it was the speed of that that gave the embouchure a movement that could come together in a timely fashion. And the C happened. See the three-dimensionality of that movement. So now I can feel that before I do that. And that's an important thing. I want to get to the point where I don't have to physically do it, but I can think it very clearly in my mind. Think of the motion, feel my hand if I need to, but mentally. It's like someone, says, oh, this isn't coming out very well. The articulation isn't good. The sound doesn't have the vibrancy or the clarity or the focus that I like. I'm going to play it on the mouthpiece. Okay? So then they play it on the mouthpiece. And a lot of times, for not everybody, but a lot of people, it's a bit better. And sometimes much better. And then you can even, go to just the ring. And that can even do something even more. And I'm all into that. Except right now, I'm into this hand movement. And I haven't been going to the mouthpiece. That's fascinating. But someone who keeps going to the mouthpiece, can they eventually just think it? They have the connection. Some people have been playing the mouthpiece for years. Well, just think of the feeling. I've heard many artists. I even heard a story about Herseth, who used to, sit and really think about how it felt. Let's say if things weren't going as great, maybe he'd just sit and think about those days where it was and connect. That's a connection, relationship, situation. So sometimes something can be outside of ourselves, and then we can take it and build mental techniques from it, maybe without using the physical, without this. I love doing this, and I like conducting ensembles because there's a relationship with hand movements. Now someone might say, well, that's not very cultivated according to the set standards that a good conductor should have. Well, I'll tell you what, the greatest conductors I ever had didn't have the greatest school, of perfect this way and that way. And sometimes when you have that for certain music, it really does help. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But not all of them did. But they were so clear in their musical connection, and they could transmit that feeling without necessarily having this geometrically fashioned, perfection. If you hear all the squeaking, it's because I lean up to this table that squeaks a bit. So I hope some of this is clear and interesting. For this is territory that we will be getting more into on the TAC series called Train Athletic Craft. This is all different kinds of trainings using different methods and techniques. And it's a technology, actually, isn't it? Think about it. Not all technology is what we think about these days with computers and with AI and all of that. There's many other kinds of ancient technologies, whether it's yoga, some of the martial arts dealing with chi. There's many, many different realms of technology. Hope to see you on a train athletic craft session soon.